say hi to her. So you guys abstain from things sacrificed to idols, per se.
That is correct.
And blood, right?
Blood, sexual immorality.
Right. Okay. So let me ask you a question.
Sure. I feel like I'm being mutual.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, because you guys teach the Bible, you know. So, and the thing is, I act like I talk like I know the Bible, and then some people are like, they tell me to talk with other people who know the Bible, so I can see. You know what I mean?
No, Bible discussion.
You know, let's me and you.
Yeah, what's up? Hey, hi, wifey.
Okay, so I was reading. I think it's Deuteronomy. Let me see. Oh, I'm using my phone. Deuteronomy 14 and like 20 or 21. It says that the Israelites, the children of Israel, cannot eat things with blood. But it says you can give it to other people.
Okay.
So, in a sense, if they're telling people not to eat blood, are they like Judaizing people? You dig what I'm saying? Are they like converting people over to be Jews? Or because if they can't eat blood in the Old Testament, other nations, they could eat the blood. You could give it, children of Israel, they could give it to the people who lived around them. They could give it to them to eat, but you can't eat it yourself. So in a sense, that law about blood was only for like the Old Testament, like 12 tribes. It was only for them. So in a sense, is that, you dig what I'm saying? Is that
no,
like
I know what you're saying.
to be able to eat pork and not eat blood, it's like, you know, the other nations could eat pork. The children of Israel were told not to eat pork.
Yeah, they were told not to eat a lot of things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And including things with blood.
Yeah.
So to not eat
leaven on bread, they couldn't even eat that. Things that we eat all the time.
Well, no, you could eat it. You could eat leaven, but just not during Passover, not during the Feast of Unleavened Bread. There's like 1 week where, because I keep Passover.
Okay, cool.
So it's like for 1 week during the year, you got to get all the leaven out of your house. You can only eat, but for the rest of the year, you can eat leaven.
Okay.
Right. But so this is my thing. You guys, we have a lot in common, I feel, because I don't do Christmas.
Okay.
You guys don't do Christmas. I don't deal with the birthdays and all that. Right? So I feel like people that I know that are Jehovah's Witnesses say, hey, that's something y'all got in common. You dig what I'm saying? Because you don't keep that. So I ask, why not keep the Sabbath? Like, why not? Why do you still eat pork and all that other stuff? If you know not to do these other things, why do you still do those things?
Because, well, for pork, I'm not eating the blood in the pork. You wash it, you clean it, you cook it, make sure you cook it right. It's delicious.
I mean, I was watching Pulp Fiction. You ever seen Pulp Fiction?
I have.
So Samuel Jackson said, you might eat a sewer rat, might taste like pumpkin pie, but I wouldn't eat that little dirty thing. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So it's like, but you know, our people eat a lot of pork, and that's why they end up with diabetes and gout. It's like God knew, God knew that we should eat healthy.
Pork is one of the fattiest meats. Yeah.
I mean, it's like.
Do I eat it all the time? No,
but you do eat it. But you don't eat food that has blood in it.
We abstain from blood. Yeah.
Right. So back to that question. You abstain from blood.
Yes.
But in the Mosaic law, people who aren't the children of Israel can eat blood.
That was at the Mosaic times. Are we?
So right. So then in the book of Acts, chapter 15, they're telling them not to eat blood. Are the people they're talking to just Israelites, or are they?
No. Remember, past the Old Testament, which is past Malachi.
Past Malachi, yeah.
Yeah. So we're starting with Matthew to Revelation. That's the New Testament. That's the Greek scriptures. So most of that genre weren't even Jews. They were Gentiles. There was a lot of non-Jews converting into what they call Gentile times. A lot of integration.
Well, see, that's funny because I don't really see that. I do see, like, I was reading 1 Corinthians.
Yeah.
I was reading 1 Corinthians. Oh, that's you. You remember me?
Yes, I remember.
What's up, bro? So check this out.
Okay.
It was him. Okay, so like in 1 Corinthians, I think it's like chapter 10, it says that all of our fathers were in the sea and were baptized by Moses. So he says all the Corinthians were Israelites, were children of Israel.
Yeah, because remember, that was a start.
No. He's telling them that you guys in Corinth your ancestors were in the Red Sea with Moses.
Yeah, correct. I'm not saying no.
Right. So like in Acts 3, it says you're the children of the prophets. You're the children of these people who were Israelites. I was reading Acts 2 in Pentecost. You know Pentecost in Acts 2?
Yeah.
With my wife. So in Acts 2, it says Jews came from all over.
True.
Because the Jews were scattered, weren't they?
They were, yeah. They
right.
called it, the Jews called it diaspora.
Diaspora, exactly. You're familiar. That term means Jews that are scattered.
Yeah, they were everywhere.
So it's like, Abraham. So they were all over, and they came down to Jerusalem for Pentecost. Yeah. So there were Jews all over Asia Minor. Like Paul wasn't even born in Jerusalem. Paul was born in Tarsus, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, I love that album, man. That SZA album. That SZA album is good.
Great artist.
Yeah, she's amazing.
We listen to.
Yeah. So my thing is like, it looks like those guys are Israelites. Like Stephen.
Okay.
Stephen in Acts 6, you know Stephen?
Yes, he got stoned.
He got stoned. They call him like the first Christian martyr, right?
Yes.
But Stephanos is a Greek name. Yeah. And in Acts 6, it says there was a dispute between the Hebrews and the Grecians. Mm-hmm. But that word Grecian means like Greek-speaking Jew.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, they picked 6 or 7 people, right, to do the ministration in the temple. All of them had Greek names: Nicanor, Timon, Stephanos. I don't remember the rest of the names, but they all had Greek names. And was Stephen the children of Israel by blood?
If you was to say that,
he was. He says it.
Technically, yes.
He says it. He says, yes, I'm an Israelite. Our fathers were with Moses.
Based off the principle, the followings of what they were taught, yes.
No, like his bloodline. Like he says it in Acts 7. Remember he gives his long speech?
That literal bloodline, then yes, everybody comes from the start of Adam.
Right. No. Of the children of Israel. Was Stephen, was he a Gentile or was he of Israel by blood?
Hey, how you doing? No, he was just saying hi.
Yeah, for sure.
So from that verse, we could say that Stephen was raised on the Jewish side.
No, I mean, was his bloodline?
His bloodline could have been with those Israelites, yeah.
I think it was. He says it like 3 times in Acts 7.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. Yeah, that's
right. But he has a Greek name.
Yeah.
And the other people they picked, they all had Greek names. They were Greek-speaking Jews. Like they were Jews, but they were born with the language of Greek. Like let's say you're Puerto Rican, but you speak English.
Yeah.
Right? You probably speak Spanish too.
I do.
But let's say you didn't speak Spanish and you just spoke English. You're still Puerto Rican.
I'm still Puerto Rican.
But you just speak English. You dig what I'm saying?
Yep.
This is like what was going on with Stephen. Stephen was a child of Israel, but but people think, they must have been somewhere else because they have Greek names or whatever, but they're still talking to Israelites. Because I'm saying the law says Israelites are the only ones who can't eat blood. So either they're Judaizing people and making people eat blood. Like you don't eat blood either, right, bro? Right? But in the law, it's okay for other nations to eat blood. You know that, right?
Yeah, for every... Oh, sorry.
My fault. Do you know that? I mean, do you know that?
Yeah, because for every other nation, it's like because they weren't guided at the time by the principles of God. It wasn't until later on that,
it was like Noah's laws, the Noahic covenant, the rainbow and all that. That was for the whole earth, like everybody. It said that was for everybody. Like don't murder each other, that kind of stuff. Everybody was under that.
Yeah.
But as far as Mosaic law, that was just Israel, right? Yeah. So if it says in the Mosaic law, you can't eat stuff with blood, but you can give it to the other nations. What is that? That means all the other nations can eat blood. So if they're not putting people under a law, how come it's saying don't eat blood? Does that make sense? Am I being clear with my question? Does that even make sense?
I'm trying to get you 100%. I think I kind of get you.
Okay, so the law says Israel can't eat blood, other nations can.
If they chose to, yeah.
No, it says that meat, don't eat it. You can give it to the strangers that live among you. But then in Acts 15, it says don't eat food with blood.
Yeah, to abstain from blood. Yeah.
Right, but then, but Gentiles were able to eat blood according to the law. Only the children of Israel couldn't eat blood.
Correct.
So if you're telling people don't eat blood, they're putting them under the Mosaic law, right?
That's a stretch.
It's a stretch?
I would say that's a stretch.
Okay, do you know that, okay. I wish I had my, okay. Okay,
I see.
Deuteronomy 14. You got your Bible? You don't want to pull it out, or?
No, I have it on the phone.
Yeah, Deuteronomy 14, I believe it's verse 20 or 21. Deuteronomy 14.
Deuteronomy 14.
Right, this is the law, right? About eating food that dies of itself, that has blood in it, right?
Yes, that is the early pre-Christian times.
Right, exactly. So it's pre-Christian, right? Before.
Remember, that's one period of time.
I got you.
Okay.
But so I want to. So check this out. We don't even need to read it if you get what I'm saying. It says Israelites don't eat blood. You have it?
Yeah. Deuteronomy.
Go ahead.
18, which verse?
21, I believe, or 20. 21. Let's try 21. I'm trying to go off memory.
Any animal that was found there, you may give it to the foreign resident who is inside your cities, and he may eat it, or it may be sold to a foreigner.
So let's say something just dies on its own. The blood is still inside the meat.
Yeah.
You can't eat it yourself, but you can give it to other nations. Now fast forward to Acts 15. You believe that they're telling other nations not to eat blood. You get it? But the law says other nations can eat blood. So the only people that can't eat blood are the children of Israel.
Okay.
So if they're telling other nations not to eat blood, they're putting them under the law of Moses. Am I right? You get what I'm saying now?
I get what you're saying. So
okay.
Yes.
So yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so they were putting them under the law of Moses, basically.
They were teaching them, yes, under that covenant. Yes, correct.
So
I agree with you on that. Yeah.
Okay, so then we do have to keep the Mosaic law, because Christ said the law is not done away with until, as long as there's heaven and earth. Was that Matthew 15?
Yes.
No, Matthew 5 and 17, where it says, "I have not come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it." And then it says, if somebody teaches one portion of this law not to be done, I'm paraphrasing, then it's like that they'll be the least in the kingdom of heaven if you teach people not to do the least of these laws.
I didn't even get your name. I'm sorry. What's your name?
Joseph.
Joseph, I'm Manny. So, Joseph, think of it this way.
My man, Manny.
Yes, sir. So
you're my brother, Manny. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Brother in the faith.
Two brothers are talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
right.
I respect that. So, I'm not saying to abstain from the Ten Commandments of the Mosaic Law. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
Because they're still valid.
Beautiful. Because you can't just murder people. You can't rape people. You can't just. You get right. You get right.
Those were
right.
the first. Moses, through Jehovah, those were the first set of regulations for the Jews to follow.
I mean, I believe not just the 10, but all of them. You know what I mean?
And there was more than 10.
Exactly.
But it was the 10 heavy hitters that everybody knows.
I mean, I hear you. Okay.
Even though there was
So you do believe in keeping a Sabbath. You keep a Sabbath, right?
But think of it this way. I didn't finish.
Okay, go ahead.
So now we have those 10. We fast forward now to Jesus' time.
Jesus' time.
So now we're moving on from, the Jews no longer being the chosen people. We're moving on to now a time where there are more Gentile Christians, Jews, a lot of these mixes that are coming into play. So a lot of non-Jewish denominations. So you have Romans, Greeks.
But I'm reading Romans. It looks like they're all children of Israel. It says by blood they all come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Yes. So
in Romans, Corinthians,
circumcision argument happened then, if that was the case.
Because they were living like Greeks, and Greeks didn't circumcise. So it's like they're like, you didn't circumcise. So they're like looking at you like you're not part of them.
Yeah.
Right? Because that was the law, right? It was like, because that was what was in Acts 15. I could imagine if you're a grown man and somebody tells you got to circumcise yourself, that's not an easy fix, bro. It might be easy. It might be easy for me to stop eating things with blood, but you can't just go, "Oh, today I'm gonna go get circumcised." You gotta have to build up to getting circumcised.
Remember, later in that account, the decision that was made with Paul and the rest of them, they agreed, and it's in the Bible,
right?
That if you feel you don't have to, it's all up to you.
I mean, they didn't agree on that. They said start them with no adultery, no blood, no things sacrificed to idols, and then they'll learn Moses every day in the synagogue. And then they'll grow, and because it hurts, it's painful to be circumcised as a grown man. It's supposed to be done on your 8th day anyway. It's supposed to be done on your 8th day. So if you don't do it on the 8th day, you still broke the law anyway. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like that's why we have to realize we have grace with Christ. So I believe in the grace.
Yes, of course.
But when did they not become the chosen people? When did the Israelites not become the chosen people?
Well, remember, they were in the wilderness for 40 years.
Yeah.
Past 40 years. How many times did they respect God? In those accounts.
Oh, you guys had a whole group. I remember her, and I remember him, and I remember her. How you doing?
Yeah, so if you remember in those accounts, they disrespected Jehovah.
They were horrible. Horrible.
So many chances.
They were definitely horrible. But God said, even though you're horrible, I'm not going to forget about you.
Of course. Right. And some of them a lot of them made it to the promised land.
Yeah. Only 2 of them that were with Moses, Joshua and Caleb. So was it like at Christ's death? When did the children of Israel lose being the chosen?
So from there, that was the start to them no longer being the chosen people.
Like, was it at the crucifixion? Was it when Christ was born? Was it after he ascended? Was it Paul? When did they not become the chosen? Because I feel like Paul even says that they're the chosen still.
Paul did say that.
Yeah. He said they're still the chosen.
But it goes into that same time period, which is the Greek period. So the book of Acts, Romans, that period of time where you had a lot of the Gentile Christians coming into play. And
I still don't see Gentile Christians. Can you show me that in the Bible? Like Gentile Christians? Like, they say sometimes the word Gentiles, but about those who live like Gentiles. You know what I mean?
I do. So I'll say this.
Non-bloodline, or I could say like non-Judean, like they weren't Judean.
We'll agree to that.
But they were still like
other than natural born Jews.
And when you say that, you're talking about like living the culture,
yes.
not like the blood, because I believe that's the case. There's some living the culture, born in Judea, living there. They were, what Jews wear, and then you got these Greeks who were like they don't have no beards, they're eating pork.
Yeah,
they're you know what I mean? They're living like Greeks. Mm-hmm. So, but they're still like bloodline. Let's say like I'm Puerto Rican and I'm from Puerto Rico. I speak the language. This and that. But then you got somebody who's like super Americanized.
Of course. Yes.
And they look at them. You know how they look at them? Like, do they have a nickname for them? Do they like say, "Oh, you're like an Americanized Puerto Rican"? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Right. So because my people do the same thing. We're like, "Oh, he's like a sellout." Like one guy's like Fresh Prince, the other guy's like Carlton Banks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So that's how they were looking at each other. But they're still brothers.
Exactly.
Right. Like I don't think it's actual Greeks. Like let's just say like white guys, like white Greeks. I don't think that's what it is.
No, yeah. So that's kind of what I'm saying. So those who were raised non-Jewish traditions, can we agree to that?
Yes.
There we go. Okay. Trying to find the right word.
Yeah. Because in Acts 2 it says they are Jews who came from all these other places.
Yes.
When they all heard their languages.
Yes.
Right. They're all descendants. Right. So, because I'm reading it, and according to world history, I'm reading archaeology and Bible prophecy. I'm showing that there's a certain group of people that are the bloodline descendants of Israel. Yeah. And they're still alive. They're still around. You know how they say they lost those tribes?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know who those tribes are? Like you believe the Bible's real, right?
Of course.
Okay, so Rome is in the Bible, Ethiopia is in the Bible, Arabia is in the Bible. You're from Puerto Rico. Where's Puerto Rico in the Bible?
I have no idea. I
See what I'm saying? Where you?
Yeah, I was born here, but I'm mixed Dominican and Ecuadorian.
Okay, so Dominican, Ecuadorian. Okay, these people were all conquered by like Spaniards. My people were. I'm native.
Okay.
So my people were conquered by English. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
Different tribes, but my people used to keep a land Sabbath, which is a law in the Bible, a new moon, which is a law in the Bible, right?
Okay.
These things that we used to keep, dietary laws that were in the Bible. I started doing some research, and it looks like your people, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Ecuadorians, these people are the bloodline descendants of the children of Israel. They just found 800 stones in Puerto Rico, artifacts that have ancient Hebrew on them. How do they know that language? They got them people in the hills, they call them Ibero. You ever heard of Boricua?
Yes.
What does Boricua mean?
Boricua is the identification of
Okay, I'll roll with that. In the Bible, it says, I believe your people come from Joseph in the Bible.
Interesting. Why would you say that?
Because of the migration patterns, the curses put on that tribe, the blessings put on that tribe. Boricua, blessings, I mean like this. I mean like this. It says in Deuteronomy 33, right? There's Moses is giving blessings to all the tribes. And it says the tribes of Ephraim. It says Joseph. It says blessed of the Lord. And then it says Barakayah.
Okay.
Barakayah means blessed of the Lord.
Okay.
Right? The words morph. You ever heard of morphology? Words morph, and it's
Yes.
and so Boricua really means blessed of the Lord, or blessings of the Lord.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Boricua is Hebrew. Like, how do they know all that Hebrew in Puerto Rico?
That's like an interesting point that we could since we don't have the answers to that specific question now, we could resume at another time.
I'm cool with that, bro.
Yeah, so
I'm cool with that. It's a pleasure talking to you. What's your name?
Edward.
Edward,
Yes,
nice to meet you. You remember me? Okay, cool. So we'll talk again. Manny, right?
Yes, sir.
Manny, it's a pleasure talking to you, bro.
Just before you leave, just remember the quick points. In the beginning, the main languages was Hebrew.
I believe that.
Yeah, so.
In the beginning, the main language was Hebrew.
Yeah, so.
Right. So then, the Bible